So you have an invention idea, and now you're trying to decide whether to license or to build your own business around the brand. For those of you who don't know me, I'm the inventor of TorkStrap, a killer new spring-loaded cargo strap, a strap so easy to use you just pull. I'm also the host of the Invent With Me podcast. I've been either involved in or hyper-focusing on the state of inventing for the last 4 years. I've interviewed dozens of inventors, always taking a strong focus on licensing. I've had a lot of experience with licensing my own products, as well as building out a multi-million-dollar business off the back of one simple good idea. Now that that's out of the way, let's talk about licensing. When I was a kid, I remember the commercials of a caveman chiseling a stone into a wheel, trying to convince us to call the 1-800 number. Like most of you, that led me to believe that a person with a good idea just has to reach out to the right person and they're gonna make you rich. Now, when I turned 30, I had my own invention idea. So I turned to the internet, forums, and Reddit to try to figure out how to get myself paid. After a few days of scanning, I noticed something very interesting about licensing. It was the Bigfoot of the internet. Everybody seemed to have some sort of licensing story, but where were the bodies? The conversation was always in reference to someone who had a good licensing story, but never from the horse's mouth. On top of that, whenever you did find a bloke who claimed he or she had a licensing success story, it was always shrouded in shadiness and confidentiality, NDAs. In other words, BS. I mean, that's basically like saying I saw Sasquatch, but I dropped my camera. Nevertheless, I took my invention idea and my provisional patent in hand. I shopped it to 50 major brands that I wanted to reach out to. Now, a really important note, I had already developed and started selling about $70,000 worth of this invention, okay? So the concept was proven. All that to be said, I got nothing but crickets. By the 50th call, I realized I have no leverage whatsoever. Say number 51 does pick up the phone and entertain my invention idea, they could offer me 3 peanuts and a purple Twinkie, and I would have to take that deal. That's when I realized I have to prove more value of my product. I ordered components and hand-assembled a few thousand units in my garage. I began making really good product videos and selling on Amazon as well as my online store. To see my full $0 to $1 million invention story, just click on the card above. Finally, in 2023, I got approached with a licensing deal. This was it, the moment I'd been waiting for. A huge company named Ericsson wanted to now utilize my fully patented spring-loaded technology. And they wanted to do a really ambitious deal with the Gorilla Glue brand, who is expanding into tools and hardware. I mean, 2.5% of MSRP. And they wanted to start with 500 units the first year. If they were to successfully sell all 500 units with no returns or rebate programs, I stood to make myself a handsome $375 that year. Guys, at this time, I was already selling 30 units a day at a higher price. I was making $2,000 a day on my own website. I could sell 500 units over a good weekend with a decent viral video. I didn't take the deal. Now I help inventors every day, and I can tell you unequivocally, their top priority is how do I license my product? Because I just don't want to do all that work. I'll give you an example of the conversation I had last week. Larry came to me with a provisional patent and a good idea he wanted to license. The item was a car dashboard accessory. He drafted the provisional patent himself, and he did not yet have a working prototype. That's okay. Now, based on my vast Amazon and e-commerce experience, this could easily be an $11 million product per year just online. And Larry wanted to see what kind of success he could have licensing the idea. I said, I'll do you one better. How about I license it from you? Better yet, how about I buy you outright? The ultimate payday, everybody's dream. I have the funds to grow the business. I frequent China and I have a network of plastics manufacturers. I have an Amazon growth partner as well as a meta ad strategist on staff ready to deploy. I have a warehouse and excellent shipping terms with DHL. I can bring this to life, and I'm prepared to give you $350 right now. Needless to say, he was a little shocked. I mean, after all, this could be an $11 million a year business. He even said to me, you just said this could be an $11 million a year business. And I said, that's right. And you'll be the guy who saved me $350 on a provisional patent when I started work. And by the way, I also reminded him I'm going to have to read through this provisional patent, and if there's any claims that you're making that aren't going to make it to the final cut because of manufacturing issues or anything at all, I'm just going to void your patent altogether, and I would have wasted the $350. That's okay. That's a risk I'm willing to take. If you want to learn more about all the fallacies of provisional patents, just click up here. So where does this leave us? I mean, after all, none of us have the time and the wherewithal to start manufacturing our own products. Yes, you do. 2 years ago, a friend and I started the Invent With Me podcast. Marcus and I set out to answer the burning questions on the top of mind for all aspiring inventors. Now, you can watch that for free. On top of that, I created a Patreon, which is linked to a Discord. On the Patreon, you get insane tips and insights as to how to bring your product to market. And on the Discord, you get linked up with incredible people like patent attorneys, shipping experts, Amazon and FBA wizards, the list goes on, as well as past guests of the podcast and current inventors. It's like an accountability/support group at your fingertips. You are never going to feel alone on this journey again. Larry never took my deal for $350. I wouldn't take his money if he tried to give it to me, because my goal is to help Larry do good for himself and his family. No one wants to take your great idea because you haven't done the work. We don't know how to sell it, how to make it, what it's made out of, who's going to buy it, who's the target avatar. The list goes on and on. I turned Larry onto the Invent With Me podcast, and he decided he did in fact have the wherewithal to execute this process with the help of some friends. So if you're ready to laugh would-be licensors out of the room and start making that FU money, just start watching the podcast today. Join the Patreon to fast-track your path to inventing success. And remember, I took the punches so that you don't have to.